In England, a huge Princess flying boat leaves the building hangar. To clear the top of the door, half the tail's left off and the nose tipped up. The wheels are part of her beaching chassis. The finished tail will tower as high as a small house above the hull. Watching manoeuvres are designer Nola and test pilot Tyson. 3 Princesses are under construction. First planned as airliners, they'll now be used as troop carriers. The 10-engine giants will carry 200 men more than 3,000 miles. In 1 year, the 3 could transport as many men as 9 ordinary troop ships. With a wingspan of nearly 220 feet and a length of nearly 150 feet, they're by far the largest flying boats ever built in Britain. Britain's Saunders-Roe flying boats, largest aircraft ever built in this country, take another step towards completion. 3 are under construction, and here goes the first pair of the 10 Bristol Proteus pop turbo engines into position on the first one. Each engine weighs 5 tons and develops 3,500 horsepower. The 10 together giving the Princess a cruising speed of nearly 400 miles an hour. If rearmament doesn't stop building, the first Princess is expected to fly in October. Lying outside Cowes, Isle of Wight, Britain's mammoth flying boat, the Princess, prepares to set out on her first taxiing trials. The crew's already on board, and the 10 prop jet engines roar into action. The huge aircraft taxis out onto the Solent, and she's airborne. Nobody expected her to take off so soon, but the weather's just right for test pilot Geoffrey Tyson, who's at the controls, and she's already touching 225 miles an hour. On her first flight, the Princess covered 120 miles. According to her pilot, she handles like a jet fighter, despite the fact that she's bigger than the mighty Brabazon. The Princess, the world's largest practical passenger-carrying flying boat, is brought out of its hangar at Cowes, Isle of Wight, to be launched. 10 prop jet engines, 8 of them coupled in pairs, will give a total of 35,000 horsepower. 2 other Princesses, still under construction, dwarf the Saunders-Roe A1, the world's first jet flying boat fighter. Everything's big about the Princess. It's got a wingspan of 219 feet and stands nearly 56 feet high from ground to tail. Experts forecast that over 100 passengers can be carried non-stop nearly 5,000 miles in its double-decker hull. But now the aircraft certificate of airworthiness is to be signed, and test pilot Geoffrey Tyson willingly lends a back. As the huge aircraft enters the water, a final From every country, except those behind the Iron Curtain, thousands have come to Farnborough to see and buy the world's finest aircraft, all stamped British-made. The giant 10-engined flying boat Princess makes a surprise visit. It seems to be goodbye to the Princess flying boats. They're for sale. The 3 of them cost £10 million just over 10 years ago. If they have to be sold for scrap, they'll fetch about £18,000. Pity the poor taxpayer. Unfortunately, the jet age overtook them. Airlines chose Comets and Boeings for long flights. For the Princess flying boats, there were no buyers, although they could have carried more than 100 passengers 5,000 miles non-stop. It was suggested that the 10-engined, 35,000 horsepower aircraft be used as military transports, but even that idea was abandoned. Back in 1952, we shot these films of one of the Princess flying boats being put into the water at Cowes. She had a certificate of airworthiness. She never had any passengers. In the aircraft industry, the country has learned to cut its losses. And what losses? Is it a pipe dream that even at the 11th hour, some use will be found for the Princess flying boats?